Hey everybody, so I've been on a real e-commerce kick lately, mostly cause I like making money. I kid. But seriously though, e-commerce has been on a massive upswing these past few years, and regular Joe Blows like us can finally get in on the action as well. But of course, you probably don't want to just make a website and build an e-commerce storefront from scratch. Not when there are so many amazing platforms like Shopify and Adobe's Magento that makes the process so much easier. Also, if you haven't signed up for Shopify just yet, you can use my link down below to get started with it. With that said, trying to figure out which e-commerce platform to use can be a real nightmare. One wrong move and you're out thousands of dollars. So I decided to take on this burden for you. Today, I'll be comparing Shopify and Magento to help you decide which one to go for. I'm going to start by comparing their pricing. Right off the bat, I should tell you that Magento does not come cheap. Like there are 3 different versions of the platform that you can use, and none of them are for the faint of heart, or should I say wallet. To be more specific, Magento offers an open source commerce and commerce cloud version, which come with their own unique advantages. Of course, if you want to really dive into e-commerce head first, the commerce version is your best bet. But let me tell you, those prices sent my blood pressure through the roof. That's why I went for the open source version, which doesn't come with any licensing costs. However, you do have to pay for hosting, SSL certification, and a domain name, which can cost anywhere from $500 to $5,000 a year. A less exclusive domain name will probably save you some cash, and the same goes for other value-added services you need to pay for. But the thing is, you have to fork over some cash for a bunch of other things over on Magento. For example, there are web design and development costs to consider, which can run into the tens of thousands of dollars. If you manage to create a website yourself, you probably don't have to worry about those charges, but most of us aren't walking around with a degree in web design, am I right? And then there are those SEO and digital promotion costs, which again can run into tens of thousands of dollars per year. And I haven't talked about extensions yet, which can cost $60 a piece minimum. Oh, and there are payment providers fees on top of everything else, so that's another 2.9% of the transaction amount. Oh, plus 30 cents per transaction. My point is, Magento's only for e-commerce business owners that are already flush with cash. The Commerce and Commerce Cloud versions come with licensing fees that can go from tens of thousands of dollars to over 100,000. So I'm not even touching those with a 10-foot pole. Now, if we compare these costs to Shopify, there's basically no contest here at all. Shopify's basic package costs just $19 a month, and there's a self-named Shopify package for $49 a month. Then there's the advanced plan, which is what I went for. That'll run you just under $300 monthly. Sure, that's $3,500 a year, but that's still nowhere close to the prices I paid for Magento. To be fair, the feature comparison will be a much more even matchup, but if we focus on pricing alone, Shopify is clearly the winner. I'm thinking Shopify gets a 5 out of 5 actually in this department, and Magento gets a 2 out of 5. I know I'm harping on about it, but I'm still recovering from the shock I got when I first learned how much Magento costs. But anyway, let's move on to the feature comparison, where things start to look a bit less, one-sided. I've got to hand it to Adobe here. They really brought their A-game with Magento's features. Like, they have the Page Builder app that basically makes web development costs completely unnecessary. Every element of my e-commerce page was just a couple of clicks away, and there were 9 templates to help me hit the ground running. Now, also, that drag and drop builder was just straight up fun to use, which makes a change, doesn't it? The personalization options are basically limitless, so it's safe to say that I got a little carried away while making all my tweaks and adjustments. I should probably mention that there's a bit of learning curve here, and folks with web development know-how will have an easier time figuring things out, but it's surprisingly simple once you get the hang of it. Probably my favorite feature from Magento was the AI product recommendation algorithm. It was a major source of revenue for me while I operated my store, because not only did it help me generate a bunch of leads, it also made it easier to convert those leads because the customers were already interested in products like mine. The inventory management feature is serious business too. I can't tell you how frustrating it can be to run out of a product and not realize it. Like, have you ever found your inbox blowing up with customers complaining about missing products? That's just not something you need to worry about with Magento, because the inventory management system is designed to keep you well stocked at all times. So, to summarize, the customization options are out of this world. The AI product recommendation feature basically rigs the game in your favor, and inventory management becomes an absolute breeze with Magento as well. So, Adobe's platform brought some serious heat to the table, but in all honesty, Shopify's no slouch in the features department either. It offers a drag and drop builder that's about as easy to use as Magento, although I'll admit that it wasn't quite as sophisticated, right? But that might be a feature rather than a bug, because it made any e-commerce site a lot easier to make. I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'll save the user experience stuff for later. But just know this, Shopify is a dream come true for people that don't know the first thing about web design. As for templates, Shopify has 12 on offer, so it's got Magento beat in that department as well. And while I missed the AI product recommendation feature, Shopify had an alternative feature that kind of felt like my golden ticket to e-commerce success. So, you know how about 2 out of 3 customers abandon their cart before finishing their transaction? There are actual studies proving this, so it's a very real problem for e-commerce business owners. Now, what if I told you that there was a way to automatically send email reminders to these customers? Shopify does just that with its abandoned cart recovery feature, and it works surprisingly well. Like, you might think that customers would get annoyed if you reach out to them, but you know what? In my experience, a big chunk of them actually ended up finishing their transactions after the reminder email. That meant more money in my pocket, with 0 effort required. So it's safe to say that I loved this feature from Shopify. Overall, I'd say that Shopify and Magento are pretty much on par when it comes to their features. That's why I'm giving them 4.5 out of 5 each. We have one final round to go before I give my final verdict though, so let's break down the user experience. I've already hinted at this before, so now I'll flat out say it. Shopify's easier to use than Magento. Sure, there's a drag and drop feature on both platforms, but Shopify makes you jump through fewer hoops. The sheer amount of customization options might be overwhelming for users on Magento, and there's no real step-by-step introduction process either. Like, when I set up my Shopify account, the platform guided me until I had an e-commerce store up and running. I didn't get that kind of red carpet treatment on Magento. Everything else is pretty much equal though. They both offer 24/7 customer support through email and live chat, so I was able to get my questions answered with no real issues. Shopify's response time was a touch faster, but Magento has knowledge resources like FAQs, so things even out on that front as well. If I factor in ease of use, Shopify gets a 4 out of 5, and Magento gets a 3 out of 5. I think we can all agree that Shopify is the clear winner. So, with a final score of 13.5, it's pretty much the best e-commerce solution for folks looking to get set up. Magento's final score of 9.5 out of 15 is kind of rough, but that's mostly because of the exorbitant pricing. If they cut costs for users, Adobe might have a real chance of dethroning Shopify, but that's just not how things worked out this time around. Also, if you haven't signed up for Shopify just yet, you can use my link down below to get started with it. So, what do you think? Will you give Shopify or Magento a try? Let me know your thoughts if you do. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!